Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unplugged. And from this today, the first Thursday in September. We're in September already. Hey guys, happy September to everybody. From today, the 3rd of September, we're going to have the mashup series on Unplugged. I'd like to welcome everybody to this edition of Unplugged, and I'd like to welcome my guests, my friends. I don't know how I was telling you the other day, I don't know how I have so many friends in different age groups doing different things, you know. So I mean, I have to say hi to Nelly first because I met Nelly first in Port Harcourt under very interesting circumstances, and Osazee I met in church, So but I met Nelly first. So it's not just because she's a lady, but because I did meet her first and she became my friend first. And Osazee has since then become my friend as well. So welcome both of you. And today we want to see how it feels to be unplugged through the lens. And unless we have any other questions, we'll just go with my questions and we'll flow, Yes. So I'll just ask both of you,
right.
What brought you to this point of being known as visual storytellers? Share your journey. What was your journey like? I mean, when you first told your parents or your guardians or whoever you said you're going to be, we call you photographer. Share your name. Once we see you with Osazee, I think you're frozen. You need to probably go out and come back in, Yes. Once anybody sees you with the camera, they'll say, CC photographer or guy photographer, and you have to educate them. But tell me, what was your journey like? How did you start on your journey, on this journey?
Osazee, are you going first or I should?
Is Osazee okay? I think, Osazee, are you live?
No.
Maybe I think you have to go use the same link and come back, please. Yeah. Please exit, then use the same link and come back.
I'm impressed that my Wi-Fi is doing well.
Oh, don't say anything to jinx it. So Nelly, let's start with you.
While Osazee starts out with internet.
Maybe I should bump him off. No, maybe I think it's better for him to go off and then come back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So okay. So for me, I've always known that I was going to be in the media since as a child. I watched Gloria Digger back then in CRBC as a reporter growing up, and I still remember talking to her back then at a party saying, "I want to be like you." And she gave me the support. She just said, "Yes, go ahead and become just like me and be bigger." And I still remember those words. And I was first in Unical in 2006. Then in 2007, I knew the journey in public policy wasn't for me. I needed to go back to journalism. So I remember telling my dad I'm going to study journalism in American University of Nigeria, and he asked how much was the school fees. I mentioned, and if you know, that's one of the most expensive universities in Nigeria. So going to study journalism at 1.something million naira every semester. My father didn't think about it. He was like, "Okay, if that's what you want to do, fine. But when are you leaving my house for it?" I mentioned the date, and he said, "Okay." My parents never visited me in Yola. They never showed up to my graduation for 4 years. They don't even know where Yola was on the map. They just trusted.
But Nelly, do you remember that I was very scared when you said you were going to Yola?
I know. I remember too. I remember. I remember you tried to talk me out of it. Like, are you sure
Yeah,
this
I
is
was like,
management? I remember, but I just knew that my calling was in journalism, and I may not have been certain on which part of or which medium of journalism, but I just knew that my calling was in journalism, meaning I had to tell stories whether I liked it or not. And that was just the beginning of everything. And having very good mentors in terms of lecturers in the school who would tell me, oh, why are you just doing print journalism? I think you should take some courses in film studies. In fact, that was how I began holding camera. That was a journey into ever touching a camera and understanding the technical aspects of photography or filmmaking. So when I moved to Port Harcourt, actually, backstory to moving to Port Harcourt, I first served in Kebbi, and I was moved from Kebbi to, I moved from Kebbi, I relocated to Osun. And in Osun, one of the things that they had taught us in the university was our ability to market and network. I remember a friend of mine saying some people came in from Port Harcourt and they're trying to hire corpers to a media company also, and I plugged into it. I went and I sold myself. The guy offered me a job instantly. I came to Port Harcourt as a video editor in this small media house, and that was how I met you.
that's
Because
exactly, that's
I
true.
was so, I was so, I don't know how to put it. I wouldn't say I was clueless because I have always known what I wanted, and that's something that I didn't know was called self-awareness, knowing what you want and going for it. I knew this was a path I wanted to stay on, and I just persevered. It's not been easy. I remember even leaving Port Harcourt to Yola. I just submitted my resignation letter, used my house rent ticket. I had no house in Yola. I was going to be homeless anyway. And I remember calling my classmates, calling my classmate and be like, "Yo, you have a place for me to put my head for the next few months. I'll sort myself out." And the girl offered me a place to stay. But that was just the beginning of me embracing difficult situations and going for what I believe was called for. And that's basically my journey into visual storytelling, documenting conflict in Nigeria.
Okay. And it seems to me that you're a little bit of an adrenaline junkie, but we're going to get back to that. We're going to get back to that. I mean, Osazee, welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. And I hope your Wi-Fi will stay strong. And welcome to everybody who's joined us since we started. And we're dealing with serious Wi-Fi issues, but it's going to be okay. Okay, he just jumped off again. My goodness. All right. So we will, when he jumps back in, we'll continue with him. Okay.
Yes.
So the term visual storyteller, I mean, it's become a thing. It's become something that people say. What does it really mean? Is it limited to photography, or what does it really mean? Visual storyteller.
It's not just limited to photography. The ability to use images or use art to be expressive, to tell a story or have a certain narrative that can drive impact or drive conversations. That's what I consider as a visual storyteller. And it's not just a visual storyteller. It could be storyteller. You could also be a researcher. You could also be a researcher who is able, or an anthropologist who is able to do proper research. Let's say you do a research on the Efik culture and you're able to dig up materials, and you get to showcase that materials at the end of the day and have like serious facts and numbers to support your images. So it's not just photographers. Anthropologists as well are considered visual storytellers.
Okay, but definitely there has to be something to see and document, and and tell a story. Definitely.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. I have I was chatting with you and teasing you a little bit before we started that almost everybody who holds a camera will just say, "Hey, photographer, see photographer, come," especially when they're all decked up and face beats. Not like I'm looking to them, face beats, and we're like, "Oh, you don't take those kind of pictures." But I remember from when I was small, there were the Jackie Phillips of this world. They had this studio somewhere in Lagos that if you didn't have a Jackie Phillips photograph, then you just weren't it. I don't know if our family had Jackie Phillips photograph. I'm not sure. My siblings are on this call, so they'll tell me sooner or later. And then years ago, when I was in Federal Government College in Kosekpene, we had a photographer in town, Jatu photographer. It was every time we had the how's it called it exit, we all headed there. I don't know what I really don't know what we were going to do, but I think as teenagers it was just a way of kind of documenting who is your friend today. You know how friendships keep changing. Now, so when I look through those old pictures with Jatu boldly written, I see that. But then since then, we've also had people like Ejekere, Photojournalist.
Yeah.
We have Kelechi Amadiobi, who started in fine arts and he's moved on to photography, I think exclusively now.
Photography.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. We had I don't know if Mr. Iroha still in your field. Iroha.
I know him. I know James Iroha.
Yeah. James Iroha, yes. They're quite and even Amaize Jekere, who is my friend as well. So there are quite a few people in that field. And some of them I know, some I have not had the pleasure of getting to know. What has made it a thing? What has made visual storytelling a thing? Oh, Osazee is back.
Yes, I am. Sorry, the network.
Okay, great. Okay, please don't leave this time.
We pray that he stays, please. Network behave.
Yes, and we won't mention those words. Yes, we will not say anything about them. Yeah. So okay, Osazee, we are going to we'll come back and hear your story. But right now we're talking about why is visual storytelling a thing. I discovered that you call yourself what do you call yourself? A photographer? And Nelly calls herself a photojournalist. What's the difference? Osazee, you go first, yeah.
Okay, I think she, as a photographer, for me, I tend to just don't put myself into a particular category of the kind of pictures I do. I try to venture into different kind of photography, be it wedding, be it food, be it children, be it street photography. I just try to tell my stories from everywhere, so I don't bottle myself into a particular kind of photography. Now, the photojournalist, you tell more stories with your images. Like, okay, there's something happening in Port Harcourt, and I'm going to tell stories. Use it as a storyline for for with pictures and use it to tell more stories. So that's what I think. But for me, I just think my part of why I call myself photographer, I choose to just not get a particular name to what I photograph.
So you like to keep it broad?
Yes.
Okay. Nelly, what's your take?
So, like I mentioned earlier, I have a background in journalism, and I do video art, I do video journalism as well, and photography. So I understand where he's coming from, and that's fair to him because he's not doing the broad. He's not doing like a specific, a niche-based type of photography, which is like wedding or food photography or product photography or wildlife or lifestyle. So he's just that's why he can't put himself in a box. But because I basically work mostly with media organizations, media houses, and also work with NGOs. So they understand the use of having visibility and, of course, reporting stories instantly as it's happening. Sometimes they might not even have all the data completed, but one image could give you an update. For instance, like what happened in Lebanon. Images were first released before data were coming through about the number of casualties from the incident. So that's why I'm more based. And in those kind of cases, I would be on the scene documenting that.
Okay. So I mean that gives us a good idea of the scope that anybody who
Yeah.
wants to get into this area, this creative endeavor. There's a whole wide range depending on
Yeah,
where. Yeah, yeah. So
there
let's
is.
talk about your adrenaline, your love for adrenaline. Where has it taken you?
Ooh, I think the most curious experience for me was going to going to a community in Adamawa State, and I was just there casually to document a story with a journalist. We went together because he came from Lagos, and I was there as a fixer to assist him. And then we got to the village, and the villager said, "Hey, journalist, hey, you should come. There's something that I want to show you guys." And we went to this secondary school where some students were writing WAEC, and just beside the school, there were these live bombs that were left over by Boko Haram. And they were trying to get the military's attention to come clean it up. And I remember not having a clue. I have never seen what a bomb looks like until that day. So we were also in the community had gotten used to seeing that. And I just couldn't believe it. And from there, the community said, let's take it closer to Madagali so that you will know that the crisis is still, the Boko Haram insurgency is still very much alive. So we went to Madagali and we just crossed over. The military blessed them, they allowed us to cross over. And just not even entering the village proper, just at the border between Madagali and Michika, we could hear the live exchange of gunshot between the Nigerian army and the insurgents. It was live. And I mean, I was literally sweating and just praying that God would take us back safely back to Michika, where we would spend the night. But for me, that's the kind of experience I have had. And I just came back from Yola recently, and I was telling my friends, I said, how do you detox as a journalist who documents this kind of things? For the past 5 years, I have literally listened to some of the saddest stories ever being told by humans just like me and you, being told by mothers, being told by children. In fact, the one I recently did were from children, trying to help them demystify the trauma that they've been dealing with for the past 4 to 5 years. You can imagine what it means growing up as a child in an IDP camp for the past 4 to 5 years. And we've often listened to parents, we've listened to adults literally talk about how they survived. But we've forgotten children who are very impressionable and they keep things for so long. So from the age of 8, 9, 10, you are growing up in an IDP camp. You are now 15, you are now 16.
That's your reality.
Exactly. Wow. So what does it mean? So I'm beginning to ask these children questions like, what does it mean for you? Like, what are you still holding on to? And I'm listening to these stories of a child. One of the child I interviewed was literally crying because his father was in between. His father was caught in between Nigerian army and Boko Haram, and he had to run. And in trying to run, he disguised as a woman. Even at that, he watched his father literally die in front of him. And I don't know if anybody had ever asked this boy this question. You know, it was sad, and I had to, for once, sometimes just being able to talk to people, just asking somebody, how are you today? It has become so important to me that kindness in today's world you don't have to be an adult to be kind. You know, even to a child, even looking at a child, be kind to that child, because you don't know what the child is carrying. You don't know the burden a child these days is carrying. I mean, our own time, we were used to playing 10-10. We're used to jumping on, going hiking and just being a child. But these days for children, it's not the same. There's so much distraction. Aside just the internet alone, there's so much that they're absorbing, and you only just need to be kind to be able to allow a child to be expressive. And I mean, when you say adrenaline pump, for me, it's been a journey. It's no longer just an adrenaline. It's more of an empathetic place right now, and the ability to bring help. I can't say I'm a voice because that doesn't seem right to say I'm a voice. I can't be a voice to people who are suffering because I live in my own little world and I'm trying to adjust. So it's just basically trying to bring these stories out and talk more about it and get people more aware that you might be angry with the government, or you might be angry with the Nigerian army, you might be angry with NGOs who are there, but these are people just like you and I. And no matter how much anger you want to hold up, just be aware that these are people just like you and I, and you need to be empathetic.
But Nelly, how do you detox then? How do you How do you get yourself to a space where you can go back in? Because what you're saying, I mean, I can feel the weight of the emotion that you're
Yeah.
talking about, of the things that you're talking about. And truly, I'm looking at the picture behind you, and looking at the face of a young boy who probably has no business looking like that, so serious
Yeah.
at that
Yeah.
age. You understand?
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, I'm thinking about my own entitled teenager, who's the, yeah, and they're all living in the same world. And you come back into
Exactly.
this world almost like a cocoon. So how do you detox and go
It took
back?
me a while
Osazee
to
has joined
learn.
us. My goodness. Okay.
Oh.
Osazee, welcome again. Yeah.
It took me a while to understand that there is power in vulnerability. It's okay for you to talk about. It's okay for you to cry with them. It's okay for you to go back and tell people and open up and tell someone, man, I am also going through this. Listening to this story sometimes are too strong for me. And it is absolutely this year for the first time this year, I literally got help, and it's something that I wouldn't trade it for anything. That has just been it, and just receiving love from people, receiving love from my family, my friends. Not saying when someone is trying to reach out, I won't say no. I'm shutting, because before I used to shut everybody out and just deal with my sorrows, then feel better, come out and start talking about these things. But now I come back, and my friends came over the other day and they brought a bottle of wine with suya just to get me to talk, because they know that I go through this bouts of emotions, and I need to find a way to, just like the kids as well, talk about it, and let it go, and understand that help me just being human as well. It won't cost anything.
You being human helps because you reached out and touched somebody. And
Exactly.
yeah, I guess we all have to do what we can. But the important thing is that we are all in the human race, and
Yes,
we should show it, yeah, and not just
we
go there and
should.
take pictures, or have people take pictures of us taking pictures of other people who are
Oh,
disadvantaged.
I know,
You
I
know,
know, I know that. In fact, that's something I spoke about. I spoke on a podcast recently. At the point where you know you should not take a picture, the point where you should drop the
yeah,
camera as a human. It's not every image that you take. I didn't know that as well, and that's why till tomorrow I'm trying to go back to school. I didn't know that as well. I felt it was okay to take every image that was around me, from the woman on the street begging to the homeless person on the street lying down. It's not all right. It's not okay for you to portray people in that manner, especially without their permission. It's not okay. So you have to literally,
yeah.
if you can't offer something useful to them, let them be. Let them, because that could have been you as
Give them
well.
their dignity. Yeah,
Exactly. Leave
treat
them
them
with their
with
dignity.
honor. Yeah, and
That
dignity.
exactly
Yes.
that could have just been you. So it's just that place of, we first of all always putting ourselves as humans. Like, if someone is homeless today, it doesn't mean that tomorrow the person won't be better or the person won't find life. You could also be homeless, and your picture surfaces on the internet in that manner. How would you feel? So at some
Absolutely.
point, just
Absolutely.
knowing when to drop the camera and say, you know what, the world doesn't need to know that I'm sharing food. The world doesn't need to know that I'm giving help. I'm helping someone right now. I am just going to do this silently, as the Bible has even also told us, do it quietly and walk away. If the person
Yeah.
comes up tomorrow and sends you a video of themselves talking about their success story, that's fine and good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Osazee has been popping in and out, and oh my goodness. Well, we called it a mashup, and in a mashup, and it's unplugged. So everything happens in unplugged. Everything happens in unplugged. So that is the state of the nation here. Yeah, and Kechi made a comment here. She talks about not just the human aspect, but the legal aspects. You're also
Yeah,
not supposed to take pictures without permission and show them.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now I hope Osaze will come back, because there's a question I'd like both of you to look at. But let me ask you, and I hope I'll be able to circle back and ask him when his internet
Okay.
is steadier. Okay. Now we have many I photographers, photojournalists, visual storytellers, because right now the cameras, I think cameras are being built around phones right now. You understand? So you have, I mean, I have an iPhone, but I don't like the camera of the iPhone. I prefer my camera of my Android. Right? It's really sharp. Right? So so we have people with phones. Everybody has a phone with an excellent camera, right? So what extraordinary thing do you have to do to break out of the crowd of photographers? Osazee, you're back. Welcome. Are you staying with us this time? I don't even know. Are you really back?
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so we're talking about how almost everybody is. You have to speak up a little bit. People are saying that up a bit. Okay, so I was asking about how do you break out of the crowd when you have a lot of professional photographers, professional journalists, visual storytellers, and then the rest of us who are carrying this around, trying to take pictures and edit. You understand? We're just carrying it around. So how do you break out? What extraordinary things do you have to do to stand out in this age when photography is almost democratic?
It seems
almost, not quite, almost. Osazee, this wasn't the plan. That this was supposed to be two people in the same industry.
I really feel for him. All right, I will just jump in.
Honestly,
I'll just jump in. So the difference with someone who has there's even a category in photography called mobile photography now. I mean, they have been doing exhibitions. I think they exhibited at last year's Lagos Photo Festival. So there's that kind of category. The difference is it doesn't matter what means you choose to be expressive of your art. The most important thing is the kind of stories you're telling, one, and two, having the eye for a good image, having the eye to compose a strong image. And a strong image doesn't have to be that it is beautiful. It doesn't have to be beautiful images that you see lifestyle photographers or commercial photographers. I mean, the models, it just has to mean that you are able to put together two things, having a good eye to compose a strong image and having a strong story, being able to capture a strong story.
You said a good eye, a strong story, and what was the third thing you said?
I think those two, a good eye and having a strong story. So you don't have to, your camera is not important. Yes, I keep saying your camera is not important. Your gears are not so important like that. Except you are into commercial lifestyle already before you begin to think about having those massive gears. But for me, that's my camera, and it's not a dope ass camera. I have to use that word to describe it. It's just the basic Sony A7, and it's less than $1,000 when I bought it. So you don't have to have the exotic cameras if you know what you're doing.
Okay. So it seems that festivals and is photography now a category in biennales and stuff like that? I know it's part of installation.
I think there was a biennale that happened last year in Nigeria too. Probably. Osazee is back.
Osazee is back.
Hey, champ,
it's not your fault. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Someone here mentioned, my brother actually mentioned that discernment is quite a responsibility when you are behind the lens. When you're looking at life behind the lens, discernment is quite a responsibility. So you've told us quite a bit of how you have to be discerning and bring out the human part of you to interact with the human race. Now, Osazee, you say you like to bring out the beauty and the romance in weddings. You like to let people see the beauty, the aroma, actually almost smell the food. And then you actually like to let us smell the streets, get the truth of the streets in your own photography. So how do you make these things happen? What special thing do you do? I think
Let me
Osazee
get
has
the.
left the building again. Okay, okay, yeah. Okay, okay. I was just checking to see if you were there. It wasn't a trick question. I just wanted to know that you were here. Okay.
Is it
What
still
do you
there?
do? Yes, it's still here. What do you do that to make the photographs you take? Okay, guys, I need to also let you know that I have been photographed. Me and my family have been photographed by Nelly in her different life. Oh. And even from that
You
time, I
know,
knew, yes, I knew that the girl was destined for something different because she would not just tell you pose in this way. She will walk around you and look for the connections. And then after that, she even now sends me a video of all the photographs she took. You understand? So, Sazi, I'm asking, what makes you break out of the crowd? What makes you really break out of the crowd? We talked about mobile photography, and Nelly said she's not afraid of that kind of competition because it's fine. Please just wave. Let me know that you're alive. You are. Okay, good.
oh, you
He's
can see me.
frozen.
I can't actually. It looks frozen from my.
It
Oh
looks
dear.
frozen from here too. Okay.
We may have to have a different session for him.
I think so. I think so. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see what we'll do with him. Yeah.
Don't stress it.
Yes. So tell me, what's your X factor, Nelly? What is your X factor?
The Holy Spirit. It is the Holy Spirit. I don't have. I wouldn't say. It's the Holy Spirit. I agree. I mean,
I agree, but you need to break it down a little bit more, because I know you go. There's something that makes people want to look at the images you take. I've looked at your images of Boko Haram. I've looked at you talking to people. I've looked at you talking about talking in your pictures about the kindness of strangers to you. Even when you had to take some kunu when it gave you a serious stomach upset, but you took it anyway. Looking at it, you knew it was going to hurt you, but you knew it would make somebody else happy, if you did it. So there must be something. I agree 100% with what you've said about the Holy Spirit, but there must be something that makes it possible for you to have that eye that helps you tell stories.
Do I really know? I won't say I know to say, because to be honest, I'm just being honest. It's the Holy Spirit, because I know times when I have been stuck and I literally have to sit. Like, I have a personal project that is about premenstrual dysphoric disorder that I battled with. And I remembered every time shooting some of those images by 5 a.m. in the morning. And I won't say I knew that those images were going to be project worthy until.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. We both went off, I think, for a minute.
Oh, okay. Oh, can you hear me now? Is it okay?
Yes, we are back. We are both back on.
Okay. So why I said it's the Holy Spirit is because as a person, I could be I'm neither here nor there. I'm neither an introvert or an extrovert. I'm neither super happy sometimes. I'm neither sad. So I can't really say I have a particular characteristics, except maybe studying. Yes, maybe studying. If I want to take out the Holy Spirit, I spend time studying, and I don't just read photography. Sometimes I delve into psychology. I delve into anthropology. I delve into just science. I read anything. I speak tech because I'm also interested in tech as well. So I think is investing in yourself and spending time as well in quiet time, moments in prayers. So I noticed that most of the work I took up, my self-portraits were around a certain time frame when I wake up in the morning by 5 a.m. and some of them at night before going to bed. And those are the moments where I get to spend time with myself. So I can't really hide I'm trying to look for a word to say to that. I can't really deceive myself because this is how I feel. I'm not trying to be anybody else. Then if you're asking in terms of documenting people that are in disadvantaged community, that level I'll say is the Holy Spirit, because some days when I don't make good stories, I know when it is time to walk away. And there are some days I go and I have his discernment to shoot. I have his discernment to tell stories. And to be honest, those stories come out and they are amazing. They are really amazing. So I hope I was able to answer that.
Yes. In a kind of way, yeah, you answered it. I can't push you. I know a lot of this has to be very, very intuitive. Very, very intuitive. It has to be. But you also talked about the importance of getting, how do I put it, getting an insider track on the human condition, which is what you get when you study. Yes. So you know that these are human beings. They're actually beating hearts behind those images. Yeah. Yeah. Just as they're beating hearts behind those when we do our face beating and stuff like that. And it takes a really great photographer, which Osazee is. Unfortunately, he can't tell us, but he's one of the few people who can get stuff out of me. I don't like taking photographs, so I like to take them once a year so that I can just have enough photographs for a season in my life, once a year or twice a year, I just like take 3-4 different outfits but he's able to make me, he's able to make me calm down enough to take I'm just one of those people who, I don't think that you're going to steal my soul, but I'm just like, oh my goodness, I can't stand this makeup. Oh my goodness, I can't stand this.
I'm actually like that as well. It's hard for me to sit down for another photographer to capture me. Sometimes I find it very weird. I'm always like, I'm not sure I want to do this. But on my own, I've seen her comments. On my own, I take super selfies of myself and I'm comfortable in that moment.
I try not to take any selfies if I can avoid it. I really try, So you like to tell stories and you like to do show the faces behind the stories.
Yeah.
In how many different ways, how many different instances have you documented trauma? So you like to document, well, not like you'd like to document, but I'd say you're called to document trauma, difficult situations, really difficult situations, even at your risk of your life.
Yes.
I dare say your emotions as well, because that's also part of your life. Yeah.
Yes. You're right.
Yes. So somebody who wants to come into this field, what would you tell them? Into this photojournalism, how many different aspects are there? I mean, must it be this? Because okay, I'll put it this way. Many young people want to just blow. So this might be the hottest thing to do right now. But we also have a situation whereby there are people like Ohai Ojekere, who took beautiful black and white pictures of women and their heads and their hairstyles, right?
Yeah.
And that is still a thing. His books are still selling, his prints are still selling, There are people who do landscape. So which other can you dimensionalize it for us? This photojournalism thing.
Okay. If you're coming into photojournalism for fame, don't. If you're coming in for the money, don't. because it's a process and it's an industry that for you to break in, you must have proven yourself. Like people watch you for a very long time to trust you to feature your work on their platforms. Because I mean, you have to at some point, even when I'm pitching, I literally have to specify that I have done XYZ for XYZ Media House to prove that I am a professional. I'm not just an amateur coming in. And it took me years of process of building that level of professionalism. I didn't just wake up and tell myself it's time to put yourself out there. And the other thing is that if you're asking how I am able to survive, is that I've always had a day job. As I love photojournalism, I'm also a content strategist. I'm also a digital marketer. I am also in the corporate communications world, which I'm passionate about, highly passionate about. I do copywriting and so on. So it's not just defining one field and sticking to it. I hear people say I can't have a day job as a photojournalist. I just want to do photography, invest in it. If it works for you, very good. If it works for very good, but if you also feel that you need to rest, you need to work from a place of rest. You need to be creative from a place of rest, and rest also includes being financially stable. If you're hungry, anybody throws in. In fact, this year I turned down a job of what that was. They were offering me $1,000 for. I turned it down because it wasn't the pay. Imagine if I didn't have a day job. Imagine if I didn't have like some kind of financial support somewhere. I would jump at every job offer. You know what? The same organization still sent me an email asking me to join their vendor list, that they still want me on board. But for that particular project, my fee was high. They couldn't take it, but they still want me to do something for them. So it's that value that you bring to yourself when you build through a process for a very long time and constantly and being consistent as well. Just bring that value on board and trust your process. It might take you might become popular or well known at 30, or you might become at 50. There's no age range to these things. The moment you start investing in yourself and you begin to learn alongside and you gradually
Nelly, you're lagging. Your sound is dragging a little bit. Nelly, could you move closer to your Wi-Fi? I hope this is not the Unplugged where I end up by myself. Oh my word. Okay, I think we've lost Nelly for now. So we're going to just go through the... Oh, Nelly, are you back? No, she's not yet. Okay. We have a comment here from Joy, and I think it's a great comment. Nelly, we lost you. Okay, that's from Ini Macaulay. It says, trust your process. Yeah. And from Joy Ologe, she says, photojournalism is a process. It is a process. I guess it's the process that is, it's difficult for us. Nelly, can you hear us in real time? Because I can't hear you again. Okay. Osazee, can you hear us now?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, great. Okay, we've lost. Oh, there you go. We've swapped. Nelly just left the building. I'm sure she'll come back. So we're talking about the process of building up who you are as a brand, and She said photojournalism is a process. You don't just wake up and blow. You grow. You have to build yourself up. Yeah. So what has it been for you? Yeah. How's it been building yourself up for, I mean, your brand name is Murban. So I don't want to call you Murban for this, but that's your brand name separated from Osazee. So how have you built up Murban?
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We didn't hear you for 1 minute there.
Okay, sorry. It's been quite a journey. Um, you know, photography in general, it's a process. You can't just wake up, pick up a camera, understand the techniques of photography. I saw photography as a medium which I used to paint. So I saw photography as a medium to use light and paint. So I had to build it gradually, one step at a time, understanding the technique, understanding my equipment, understanding storytelling with photography. It's just been an awesome process. Somebody who's coming into photography has to that on it. I mean, it doesn't work.
Osazee, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. I hope you'll be able to come back because we really would have to hear you. Photography from different parts of the spectrum. So, Nelly,
Yes,
you said that it doesn't. Yeah, you're back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And you said it doesn't really pay financially, not immediately.
Not immediately.
Not
No,
immediately.
you have to build. You have to build that network. You have to build.
Okay, so what would you say to the young person who is in Port Harcourt, Calabar, Uyo, Warri, who wants to get into this line of business? What would you say? Is location very critical? Is location very critical in succeeding?
No.
Okay. So
I started in Yola. I started in Yola of all places. I mean, where most Nigerians don't even know where Yola is. I even ask me, is Yola Bono? Meanwhile, it's Adamawa State. So tell the stories that are important to you. Tell the stories in your environment that are very close to you. I started by telling stories in my own environment. I didn't move to Lagos until last year when I was hired by a bank. So tell stories that are important to you. And even as I moved to Lagos, I'm still telling stories in Lagos that are important to me, so that are dear to my heart. So location is not important. And as you tell these stories, don't hoard them. Don't hoard them. Share. Keep sharing. Be consistent. You don't have to be a professional. You don't have to get all the compositions right. People can sense passion from a distance, and that's where people want to plug in. Once you're able to show that you're passionate, and there'll be days that you drop the camera. There'll be days that you ask yourself, is this even worth it? Who is even noticing? There are days that you will not even have even one like on your picture or on your page, and you may just even have just 100 followers. It doesn't matter. Just be consistent. Because I know that a lot of the network I have gathered today mostly came from social media, and it came from referrals of people just saying how often and how much I was passionate about what I was doing. I had no money. I had no resources like that, except that, and then again, if you're passionate, you have friends who are willing to invest in you. I've been blessed with great people in my life who I would tell them, there's a story that is so important. And it's just because they can see, they may not even agree with me that, Auntie, what you're doing is right, or we're happy to see you going that far. I'll like, you need to invest in this story. I promise you it's going to be a hit. Some days they will call me, how far? See, you have not published that story. And I'm like, nobody is buying the idea. But you see, years later, you will have one art house will tell you, do you have pictures of women in communities that you want to exhibit? And then I'm like, yes, I do. And then I bring out my archive and they're like, wow, so you have this amazing body of work. So people may not even believe in what you're doing. So don't give up. Just believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself. Believe in your passion. Believe in your process and keep pushing.
And learn your craft, right?
Exactly. Spend time study. Don't just go and be, don't just do photography. That's where people get this thing wrong. And it took me also going through a mentorship program last year with Lagos Photo Festival to unlearn things like just reading only photography journals. No, I had to study wide and far. Like even before COVID became a situation that we are suffering, we are dealing with now. As of when I first had COVID last year, I started studying COVID, looking at research work around it. So when I started this, I have a series right now called A Piece of This Pandemic. I'm looking at how people's lives are returning back to normalcy, and just the fact people are adjusting to this new normal. So I'm looking at the education. I'm looking to go into a club right now, or a lounge, a night's educational center, to also document if people are even careful. I'm also looking at churches. I'm looking at just everything of people just coming back, and it took me months of studying about how this virus was going to affect our lives and how humans were going to adjust. Even the whole work from home, the remote working system was taking shape. So I'm not just doing a story. It's from a deep place of research. So study everything, study science, study tech. You can begin to do work now in AR, in AI, VR, and just study.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And thank goodness, I mean, thanks to this and our laptops, we have so much information available to us. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, for instance, you may or may not know it, but Unplugged, this entire story series came from me trying to deal with the issues around isolation. Now, this is not because I'm not somebody who I know how to stay at home very well. I can keep my own company very, very well. But the very fact that there was this unseen foe out there, I got into a stage of siege. I'm like, oh no, I'm totally unplugged. I mean, I'm like, this is not me. I mean, I might just go out normally once a week or something, but I wanted to have that freedom. And it's so important to know that freedom and the lack of it are things that are, I think that is part of what you study in the human condition. When you go to these IDP camps, the lack of freedom, you're not being shelled every day, but are you free? And some of us sitting in the castles of our own skin, are we free? That is another human condition. There's also a series that you have been looking at about, is it, I think it's so, was it women in isolation or women? You talked about depression, links with
that was
menstrual dysphoria. Yes.
Yeah, so I'll talk a bit about that. It was during isolation because I'm such a loner. I live alone. I travel alone. I have no relationship. I have not dated in a while. So, I mean, I have nobody that I burden emotionally. And it was during the isolation that I realized that, like you said, freedom, that I have actually also been isolated emotionally from so many things in a very long time, and just put my body, mind, and soul into my work without even realizing that, like you said, you've been unplugged. I didn't know that I was going to unplug my own family. And it was during that phase that I dig deeper and realized that what I was dealing with, having different siege and bouts of depression only for a particular period of time. That was during my menstrual cycle. And I couldn't wrap my head, like, why do I feel this way only during this period? After this period, I'm a happy-go-fellow. But during this period, I feel sad. I start having suicidal thoughts. So during the lockdown, I decided to dig deeper and realize that it had a name called premenstrual dysphoric disorder. And that's something that most people in Nigeria don't even know. I mean, women just go very sad and they say, oh, you're overreacting. PMS. It's not just PMS. There are different levels to this thing. It's not just PMS. Some of these girls, if you ask them, they also have thoughts of depression. When I looked deeper, it says that that some women even go as far as killing themselves. And they want to know that it's just their menstrual cycle that is, you know, pushing this. And it comes from a place of hormonal changes or imbalances. And that was when I realized that I needed to let women know that you can get help. And you can as well be vulnerable and talk about it. Let our opposite sex, let the men be aware, because some men will just think that you are just being irritating, not knowing that you're literally going through something that can end up killing yourself for. So that's when I started that series on premenstrual dysphoric disorder.
Wow, you've been extremely vulnerable in sharing. Yeah, you've been extremely vulnerable in sharing. I mean, I think even the whole concept of isolation is not something that many of us want to say. I mean, and you've just told the whole world that you haven't dated. I mean, so look at for a while. So look out. You might be getting people inboxing you. you know, but this is also even to say that even when people are dating, there's isolation. There can be isolation. So I
won't even be surprised. Even in marriage itself, you might be married and isolated from your partner emotionally. But you think because you think you're seeing this person every day, you have that backup. But if you look deeper, you might be isolated from even the things that you love, even just seeing your friends, even going to the ice cream shop. So
exactly.
I mean, this lockdown really made put humans in a very vulnerable state, and it wasn't totally bad. Because you have two options, either to incubate and come back stronger, or incubate and sink in it. So many people incubated for that period of time and they came out stronger. So many people incubated and they're still trying to recover.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm still trying to recover from not seeing my siblings. I haven't seen them. Yeah, I haven't seen them in a long time. And we are just 3. You understand? So one is in England. So the whole idea of even going abroad right now, I'm probably self-isolating and doing COVID tests for 2 weeks. But I mean, how long were we going to even spend? So, you know, and my sister is in Calabar, but for a long time we couldn't even cross borders. You know, so it really, I really got a very strong sense of aloneness. So I just see so many threads in your work. That whole thing of being alone, that whole thing of the importance of connection, the thing about being vulnerable and open, and also the connections about, it's all about human beings. If we not human doings, not human doings. It's all about human beings. You know, we have a couple of
power in community.
There is a lot of power in community, even though people like us like to step back a little bit. So we have a comment here from Ifoma Egbono, who says, "Believe in yourself, believe in your passion, believe in the process." Yes, 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 Nelly. Thank you for re-emphasizing this. And yes, this is from Joy. Yeah. Thank you. These are very important nuggets, and as we are gradually coming, as the world is coming back from, these are important things for us to know. And this is from my sister, whom I haven't seen. Hi, Jerry. You know,
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, this is from her. Yeah, this is from her. I really want to thank you. I'm so sad that Osazee hasn't been able to stay for more than a hot minute on this program, you know, because I actually wanted you guys at the end to stand in each other's shoes and say, what would you tell each other? But since we can't do that on this mashup, and it's turned out to be a Nelly and Julia show, I'd like to ask you, because we are really at the top of the hour when we will have to sign off. What legacy would you like to leave behind, Nelly? What is your legacy?
My dad had said something to me the day he found my story on on CNN. I mean, before now, my parents didn't know I was going deep into places like the jungle to take pictures. They just thought I was Yola in one corner writing about my experiences, but they didn't know I was right in the middle of the whole crisis, and also even contracting tuberculosis in the process, and being at home for almost a year of not creating. And I came back and I still went back to the field. And I remember my dad, when the day he read that story, he called me and he said, I know my father did not, he didn't do so much, but he gave me education and I invested in the same thing I believe in. So feel free to take that name as far as you can. Take it so far, do it. And that's the same legacy I want to leave for my children. Feel free to take that name so far. Feel free to climb on my shoulders and be higher and, do better than me. Show the world that you can, and show the world that there's something right. And people always say from Calabar, what good can come out of Calabar? This is an example of a young person from Calabar straight to the Northeast without looking at ethnic bias or tribal biases, just doing what she believes in. Don't let anything hold you back. Don't condition yourself into a particular box because of where you are or your current situation. But I know whether anybody's believing in you or you don't believe in yourself, but just try. Every day you wake up, there's something to be grateful for and believing. So that's the legacy I want to leave for my children. Take my own name or ride on my wings and go further.
Thank you. I'd like to share this before we go. Because you're sharing right from your heart. Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, Osazee has come back just in time to say bye-bye. Osazee. Oh.
Sorry. It's been...
Sorry. This has been it's not been a good time for us. There's a time we all got bumped off and we came back in, Yes.
Oh dear.
But, I think we'll probably have to schedule another time. I'll wait for my people. What did my friend call it? The Unplugged tribe. Let the Unplugged tribe tell me when they would like you to come back, because it would really be nice to look at how you are taking your own side of storytelling vis-a-vis Nelly. We've heard Nelly's story today. We don't know whether she's going to go back to the IDP camp or where are you off to next?
I'm doing a story on migration now. So I'm looking at the middle class Nigerians who can afford to migrate, because I know there's so much stories right now on people crossing to Libya, trying to get to Europe. So I'm looking at people who can actually afford to migrate. Why are they leaving? So the question is, why leave? So if you're that person who is migrating and like me, will give me the privilege and honor to tell your story, please reach out to me. Send me a DM. If you're in Lagos, I'll find you wherever you are.
Okay, well, guys, you heard. If you're planning to migrate, I'm not planning to migrate. I'm here. I'm here. If you're planning to migrate, please reach out to Nelly. Her handles are on the scroll bar, but you could also reach us and we'll let you know. Osazee, I think we'll need to reschedule this and have a time with you. Yes. So let's see if we can do it. Guys, what do you think? Next week, Monday, is that good for you? I'm waiting to get comments, because if they're not here, you and I you can just come to my house and we'll have a chat.
Makes sense. Much better. So you don't have network problems. Much better.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like it. Anytime. I'm open anytime.
Okay. So let's see. We'll probably be able to do this on Monday as well. So we can we'll do a special edition. And Nelly, if you could have 10 minutes to just guess bomb that's Monday. If you do have 10 minutes, please just let me know. So you can just, because I really wanted to see the dynamic, and that's what the mashup is about, the dynamic. Something beautiful happens when two or more people in the same field bring in the intensity of their emotions and their knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. They said Monday is fine. Great, 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 great. Thank you so much. I'm
Thank
going
you
to be
so much,
begging Nelly
Julia.
from now, between now and Monday. I'm going to be begging her to
Mondays
just
are
come
usually
back.
my busiest
I
days
know, Nelly, but just
because
10
of my
minutes. So
day
you can
job.
just 10 minutes so you can just, okay, I shouldn't be telling you not to do the right thing on your day job. So if you can,
All right,
yeah. Well, if you can't, please just record something
I'll
which we
let
will
you.
share. Yes, which we will share.
No problem.
Because I had wanted you and Osazee to look at each other from each other's lenses and say, this is what I would tell you if I were in your shoes. And this is what I would tell you if I were in your shoes. You understand? So if you can share that with me, then I'll share that with Osazee if you can do that live. Okay? And also, I'd like if you can tell, I think we do have the clips of what you said young people should do, people coming into the field. So we'll take that and use it as a balance with what also enhance whatever Osazee will tell us on Monday.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you, Nelly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so happy you didn't run so fast I couldn't catch you for this time. Thank you. You know.
Thank you, Julia.
Okay.
It's always nice talking to you.
It is, and I hope we will get to see each other live soon. Yeah,
I hope so.
I hope so. I hope so.
Bye.
And when I'd like to buy some of your paintings, so we'll talk about that too. Some of your images, yes, yes, we'll talk about that as well.
I'm happy to send you print.
Oh, fantastic! Okay, so I shall talk to you offline. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Nelly. Thank you, Osazee. Thank you, everybody who plugged in with us today. And on Monday, 11 o'clock, we shall be here. We shall hold the Wi-Fi and the airwaves, with serious prayer. Okay, guys. Thank you. Have a great weekend, everyone. And,
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.